Hi there, I'm Garnett Genuis, Member of Parliament from Canada, and it's a pleasure for me to be here virtually to address this important conference. I had the pleasure of joining you in person in Washington a couple years ago and have very fond memories of what was discussed, and as well as of the people that I was able to meet at that time. And I hope to have the opportunity for those kinds of in-person interactions at some point in the near future. I want to just thank and recognize Coptic Solidarity for the important advocacy work they do for the Coptic community, speaking about fundamental human rights issues and raising the voice of this very persecuted Christian community. It's been a pleasure for me to work directly with Lindsay and the team at Coptic Solidarity, in particular in the last 6 months on the Rami Kamal case, and I look forward to continuing partnership around this particular case, as well as other important issues. I believe that it is the obligation of my government, of Canada, as well as other governments around the world, to be a strong and principled voice for human rights. And for me, a principled foreign policy means being very clear about the fact that anytime people are seeking respect for their fundamental rights, their fundamental freedoms, they should know that Canada is on their side. They should know that the United States is on their side. They should know that Western democracies will side with people seeking justice, seeking protection of their religious and other liberties, seeking the opportunity to have their voice heard in their government. There was always this temptation of realpolitik to think that we can somehow sell out the rights of people in other countries in exchange for some kind of benefit in terms of relationship with their oppressors, whether that's a benefit in terms of cooperation on security issues, opposition to other powers that we see as presenting a geopolitical threat, or just preserving some kind of domestic stability. But in every case, these policies of selling out human rights have failed. They have failed to protect our security. They have failed to strengthen our geopolitical position, and they have led to worse disasters in the long run, including, of course, from the perspective of human rights. Because many autocrats wish to set themselves up as the only alternative to chaos, or to other alternatives that are more injurious to our security. But in the process, they repress the voice of their people. They end up strengthening more extreme versions of opposition and destroying the effective and independent voice of more moderate forms of civil society. And that's why I believe in Egypt and in other countries around the world, we need to be clear about the importance of expanding human rights. And we need to hold governments accountable for the results they're able to achieve. There is so much more that needs to be done in Egypt to protect the fundamental human rights of the Coptic community, as well as to expand the sphere for freedom of speech, and for democracy. Our voice on the world stage should be prioritizing the advance of religious freedom and all freedom, and the voice of people in their government, as well as independent civil society. These things are all connected. The idea that in the long run, autocratic rulers will be better for religious freedom, it might seem appealing in the short term, but it is not a path that I believe works in the long run. And we need to be continually pushing for that expansion of the full spectrum of freedom, including, of course, the security and freedom for religious minority communities. And then we also see too often in the West a downplaying of the persecution of Christians, a sense that it's somehow politically incorrect to focus on the human rights of Christians. But we should be committed to defending the rights, the freedoms, the dignity of all people, and recognizing the extreme extent to which Christians around the world face persecution. I commit to you my continuing voice on these important issues, and I want to again thank Coptic Solidarity for all the important work they're doing in this respect. Thank you, and God.